reading module is considered as the toughest part of PTE, but we have a solution for this. If you face problems in solving reading, you can purchase our reading course, which includes essential grammar rules for each type of questions that may help to ace your score. Call us for more information on 95880-68207 or 636794980. Thank you.
For many first-year students, the university may be their first experience living away from home for an extended period of time. It is a definite break from home. In my point of view, this is the best thing that you can do. I know you have to fend for yourself, cook and clean after yourself, basically look after yourself without your parents, but the truth is, sometime in your life, you are going to have to part with lovely mommy and daddy. But they are only just a phone call away, and it is really good to have some quality time without them. The first few weeks can be a lonely period. There may be concerns about forming friendship. When new students look around, it may seem that everyone else is self-confident and socially successful. The reality is that everyone is having the same concerns. Increased personal freedom can feel both wonderful and frightening. Students can come and go as they choose with no one to hassle them. The strange environment with new kinds of procedures and new people can create the sense of being on an emotional roller coaster. This is normal and to be expected. You meet so many more people in the halls than if you stayed at home. The main points about living away from home are: no parents. You don't have to tell them where you're going, who you're going with, what time you'll be coming, why you're going, etc. etc. You learn various social skills. You have to get along with your roommates. Living with them can present special, sometimes intense, problems. Negotiating respect of personal property, personal space, sleep, and relaxation needs can be a complex task. The complexity increases when roommates are of different backgrounds with very different values. It is unrealistic to expect that roommates will be best friends. Meaningful, new relationships should not be expected to develop overnight. It took a great deal of time to develop intimacy in high school friendships. The same will be true of intimacy in university friendships. The article subjects the assumptions and prescriptions of the corporate culture literature to critical scrutiny. The body of the article is devoted to teasing out the distinctive basis of its appeal compared with earlier management theory. It is seen to build upon earlier efforts, e.g. Theory Y, to constitute a self-disciplining form of employee subjectivity by asserting that practical autonomy is conditional upon the development of a strong corporate culture. The paper illuminates the dark side of this project by drawing attention to the subjugating and totalitarian implications of its excellence/quality prescriptions. To this end, parallels are drawn with the philosophy of control favored by the party in Orwell's 1984. Specifically, the paper critiques the doublethink contention that autonomy can be realized in monocultural conditions that systematically constrain opportunities to wrestle with competing values, standpoints, and their associated life projects. Private schools in the UK are redoubling their marketing efforts to foreigners. Almost a third of the 68,000 boarding pupils at such schools already come from overseas. But now, with many UK residents unwilling or unable to afford the fees, top boarding schools are edging towards £30,000, $49,759 a year, and a cultural shift away from boarding. Many schools are looking abroad to survive. Sue Fieldman, press officer at the Good Schools Guide, says, "It's a whole new world out there. 10 years ago, English private schools were full of English pupils. Now you see foreigners in most schools. With the recession, there are gaps in desks and beds. If they can't fill them with English, they fill them with foreigners, especially Russians and Chinese. Overseas students now account for about £500 of fee income a year for boarding schools in the UK. Although environmentalists have been warning about this situation for decades, many other people are finally beginning to realize that if we don't act soon, it will be too late. The good news is that more and more businesses and governments are beginning to understand that without a healthy environment, the global economy and everything that depends on it will be seriously endangered. And they are beginning to take positive action. Buying a house can seem like a daunting process. First, you need to work out how much you can borrow. This is where our services will really help you. Make sure you have an accurate and detailed budget that takes into account all associated with purchasing a property, including stamp duty, council rates, and other fees. We can help you identify these extra costs. Ask us for our budget planner if you don't already have one. Interest rates move constantly, so you will need to allow room in your budget for interest rate increases and for other unforeseen events. All purchase funds are paid at settlement. In the ordinary course of events, settlement takes place, the purchase price is paid in full, and the deposit bond simply lapses group certificates for the past 2 years. One of the most eminent of psychologists, Clark Hall, claimed that the essence of reasoning lies in the putting together of two behavior segments in some novel way, never actually performed before, so as to reach a goal. Two followers of Clark Hall, Howard and Tracy Kendler, devised a test for children that was explicitly based on Clark Hall's principles. The children were given the task of learning to operate a machine so as to get a toy. In order to succeed, they had to go through a two-stage sequence.